Big news from the state of Valley as well as Haryana is here. The first exit poll predictions have suggested that Congress is winning Haryana and NC Congress alliance is headed towards a majority in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the last assembly election in Jammu and Kashmir were held in 2014 and the state has been under precedent rule since then, since June 2018. The first exit poll have given clean majority to Congress in Haryana and advantage to National Conference and Congress alliance in Jammu and Kashmir. How is the political situation faring out in Jammu and Kashmir? To understand more on this, we are joined by special guests. We have Smita Gupta, who's a senior journalist. We have Kapil Madan, who's an advocate. And also we are joined in by Kailash Adhikari, who's the MD of Governance Now. Ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to ET Now. Thank you so much for finding out time and to being part of this discussion. First of all, I quickly go out to Smita and understand. Smita, we understand that the BJP is trying, the kind of exit poll results we've come out with, now the BJP is trying to strengthen its base in the region with traditional parties like National Conference and even PDP. They are working to regain their lost ground. What have you noticed the significant trends in the voter turnout, preferences compared? What is your first reaction on the exit poll results coming on from both the states?
If we take Jammu and Kashmir first, as you mentioned, this is an election after 10 years. It's also an election after the abrogation of Article 370. So that is also significant. So the fact that people actually came out and cast their votes, even though a lot of people were unhappy, that is something that is important and one needs to look at that. If we divide the two, separate the two regions, the Kashmir Valley and Jammu, the Kashmir Valley, it was expected that the National Conference and the Congress would do well, but the BJP, which did not contest there, was backing a lot of independent candidates there. In the Jammu region, where the BJP has a much stronger support base, the Congress was expected to also there are three Muslim-dominated constituencies there. They were expected to do well there. The results, these are only exit polls. These are not results. So if we accept that this is the way things are going, this was an expected kind of result. But we also will have to see what is the difference if the NC Congress manages to be ahead. But will it cross the halfway mark? If it does not cross the halfway mark, will the PDP, if it wins any seats, Mehbooba Mufti's PDP, will she give them, will she support them? These are all the questions which will have to be answered only after the results come out.
Sure.
In case these results are wrong, and it is the BJP plus these handful of independents in the valley who managed to get that majority, suppose the Congress bombs into Jammu area, then we have a completely different scenario. And then we will have to also see how it is taken by the people, especially the people in the valley, who are not, in favor of the BJP at all, and who have been very unhappy about the abrogation of 370, the shrinking of the state into a union territory. It has been seen as a kind of insult. People have been keeping quiet, but these elections are really critical.
Right, these are critical elections.
How things pan out.
Right. Absolutely, Smita. Stay with us. We understand. We'll come back to you, but then let's also understand that how reliable these exit poll outcomes are. We'll bring in Mr. Kailash Adhikari also, who's the MD for Governance Now. Now, Kailash, since we understand in 2014 assembly elections also, exit polls forecasted an inconclusive result. Rather, the actual outcome differed from the predictions. PDP was emerging as a leading party. How reliable do you think the exit polls are? And your first reaction on the exit poll coming in?
Priyanka, only a certain degree of reliability you can place on the exit polls. It is not just about the 2014 Jammu and Kashmir election, time and again, whether it's the general elections of the country in 2024 or 2019 or various state elections where we have seen. So, okay, you can call it a bit of a pulse, but let's not rely too much on it. Looking at the Haryana exit polls that are there, we should understand that, of course, the Bharatiya Janata Party has been in power since the past 10 years. So any kind of anti-incumbency could be a factor, but these are just exit polls. We should actually wait for the actual results to come out. With regards to Jammu and Kashmir, the entire topography is different. The entire mathematics is different, as explained by Smita ma'am, earlier. The elections are happening after 10 years, after two tentpole events in the past decade. So there could be, we could see some kind of difference there. Traditionally, Jammu votes difference, the Valley votes difference. But these are just, as I said, exit polls. And in the last general elections also, we have seen that, you cannot place a whole lot of reliance on exit polls. You might see that Haryana might just throw a different surprise as compared to the exit polls.
In fact, we'll have to wait and watch till October 8th when the real result, the actual results comes in. But then we also have Mr. Kapil Madan also. Kapil, the rightly said, the way Smita also pointed out, and even Mr. Adhikari also said, the abrogation has significantly altered the political landscape there. Now, it has led to changes in party dynamics, even the voter sentiment. Now, that has affected how do you see the local parties like National Conference or even the PDPs that is faring out now?
So let me quote by saying when BJP contested the legislative election last time in Jammu and Kashmir, they were the staunch critic of PDP and the ideology of PDP. Now, what happened thereafter? Because neither PDP nor Bharatiya Janata Party could get a majority, they did a post-poll alliance, and the people were not really happy with the post-poll alliance. And the fact that this alliance was broken by PDP, and thereafter the president rule was imposed, and you have delayed elections in Jammu and Kashmir since 2018, shows one thing, that BJP is not very confident about their situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Had this been the case that they were confident about the work that they've done under the president rule, they would not have delayed the elections in Jammu and Kashmir. And I have, no qualms in saying that BJP will find it very difficult even to retain its previous number. I believe they had about 25 seats, and all those seats came from the Jammu region. In Kashmir, they were at zero, and in Ladakh region also they were at zero. Also, you must not forget that BJP rides very high on the issues of polarization against a particular community and in favor of a particular community, which works counterproductive in a state like Jammu and Kashmir. So you will have some dent to the BJP because of that also. The other point is that if you look at the Ladakh region, Sonam Wangchuk was doing a protest against the government. He was on a Anshan also, and then thereafter he announced a march from the Ladakh region also, and therefore, there were some reports that he was detained. So if you look at, in totality, the entire political landscape of Jammu and Kashmir, it looks that, BJP is on a very weak wicket there because people have made their mind, and you will, see results which will, not favor the BJP.
All right, that's more to come on the actual results. We'll have to wait till October 8th. But then let's also understand how is the political landscape looking in for Haryana also. Let's get you some interesting facts. All our guests are there with us. But then just let's quickly get you the battleground for Haryana. The parties were contesting for 90 seats. And what is the seat share looking like in 2019? In 2019, BJP got mandate on 40 seats as Congress got mandate for 30 seats. Whereas which are the key candidates for Haryana who are in fray? Of course, from BJP, we have Nayab Singh Saini, Tejpal Tanwar from Sohna, Yogesh Kumar from Julana, Jagmohan Anand from he's also in the fray from BJP, and from Congress, Meva Singh, Rohitas Singh, Vinesh Fogart, who's got immediately after joining the party, coming from the sports fraternity, immediately joining the party, she got the ticket, Sumit Virk, and strong contestants coming in from AAP also. But now let's understand that what are the key dynamics that is shaping the political landscape in Haryana. I'll come to you, Smita. Tell us that the key dynamics, the key questions, the key reasons which has shaped the political landscape in Haryana right now. What would be the major agendas? Maybe it is the recent farmer protests affected, or what are the key issues for which people would go and cast their votes?
Well, you're absolutely right. The farmers' protest has been a very big issue because the Jats are a very, very dominant community in Haryana. And as you know, Mr. Bhupinder Singh Hooda of the Congress Party is one of the tallest Jat leaders. Number two, I was just listening to the news a little while ago. I don't know what the final turnout was, but the news seemed to suggest that in the urban areas such as Gurgaon, Faridabad, etc., the polling percentage was low, which is not a good sign at all for the BJP. Thirdly, another thing that I would like to point out is, let us take the case of Mr. Ashok Tanwar, who used to be in the Congress. He moved to the Aam Aadmi Party. He moved subsequently to the BJP, and yesterday he suddenly moved back to the Congress. As you know, politicians are very good at sensing the change in the political landscape. Secondly, the Dalit community is also very important in the Dalit or Jatav community in Haryana in certain pockets. And we have Kumari Selja of the Congress Party, who is an important figure. And though there were some reports initially about the problems between Mr. Hooda and Ms. Kumari Selja, eventually we saw that they all shared a stage along with Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi. And finally, I think one issue that will be important or should have been important in these elections is the case of the women wrestlers, and Vinesh Phogat standing as a symbol of that. The manner in which our Olympic level women wrestlers were treated by the BJP's leadership, who dominated the wrestling federation. The months and months that they spend at Jantar Mantar protesting against that sexual harassment, the fact that the government, the BJP did not take any action. And finally, we know what happened at the Olympics. Will that play out also? Will that affect the women's vote? Has that affected the women's vote? We'll have to see that.
Right, many things to be are in wait and watch mode, but then of course the caste also plays a crucial role there. In fact, I'll have my question to Kapil now. Kapil, caste plays a crucial role in Haryana politics, be it Jats, OBC, even Dalit, and there are significant voting blocks also. Now, parties often align with specific communities to secure votes also. What key factors do you think would have do you believe that it would have influenced the voters this time?
So I'll take the cue from where we left during the general elections. BJP again suffered a loss in Haryana insofar as parliamentary seats are concerned. And one of the political clients during the 2024 general election was the issue of constitution. While the BJP made a remark that they would do 400 par this time, and the opposition seems to suggest that they wanted to alter the constitution. Therefore, the BJP is aiming for 400 par, and this particular narrative struck chord with the people of the country, and that's the reason why this was one of the very predominant factor because of BJP suffered loss. So yes, caste do plays an important point, and it happened in 2024 elections, and you will have some impact in the general elections also. But I feel, insofar as Haryana is concerned, there are larger issues on which Haryana would be voting. The issue of unemployment. Remember, Haryana tops. I mean, it is one amongst the state which has the highest unemployment rate. The issue of farmers' protests. We saw what happened in 2020. We saw what happened recently in the farm protest too, how the farmers were stopped by the Haryana police from entering Haryana and reaching Delhi. We also saw how some of the BJP leader ridiculed farmers. One prominent face was Kangana Ranaut. She made very disturbing and maligning remarks towards the farmers, and BJP also realized that what they're doing is going to impact them, and that's the reason why they came up with statements wherein they condemn their own politician, that is Kangana Ranaut. So all these factors will play a role, And last but not the least, I think Vinesh Phogat's case is again a very, very emotive issue here. The way they have handled, in fact, their party supporters, cheerleaders, or right wing handles, the way they have handled this Vinesh Phogat's issue, especially after the fact that she was disqualified from Olympics. I think
Right.
this will have a negative impact on the voting in Haryana, insofar as BJP is concerned.
Okay, negative impact for BJP as far as this entire matter is concerned. What Kapil has to say on this? But then, bringing you in conversation, Kailash, now since they both spoke about that, agriculture is of course central to Haryana's economy, and then issues like farmer welfare, crop pricing, land rights, they have been a focal points in political discourse for Haryana. What are the key dynamics that you think that are shaping the political landscape in Haryana?
For Haryana, as both my co-panelists mentioned about the caste factor, that is very crucial. It is not just about the Jat community, which hold predominance of more than 10% in half of the seats there. Apart from that, then of course the Dalit community. Then the third is the business community, the Banya community, which holds also good amount of stake in Haryana. Apart from the fact that you had a farmers issue, apart from the fact that you had some water issue, not only for drinking water into the houses, which I heard people saying some time ago when the polling was going on, apart from the fact that the kind of irrigation supplies or water coming into the fields, we must also realize that 10 years a party has been in power, and in democracy we do see certain kind of anti-incumbency slipping in after 10 years. How much has it slipped in, whether it has slipped in totally, whether it has crept in or whether it has not crept in, that only we'll get to know on 8th of October. As far as I see now, that relying just on the fact of the exit polls and writing off the BJP there is not something that we should do this evening, but we should actually wait for the 8th of October.
Absolutely, we'll have to wait for the real results to come on 8th of October. But then moving on the conversation, taking the conversation further, Smita, of course, coming back to the political, the Haryana politics only, the rise of new parties also played a crucial role. That was a new trend, like, JJP, that reflects the shifting political alliances and even the voter preferences, especially amongst the youth, among the younger generation, and that to be from more diverse demographics. Do you see any significant change, significant trends happening on this front also?
Well, there are, as you point out, other smaller parties, and they have their representatives, they represent the youth. But as I think one of my co-panelists mentioned shortly, that one of the key issues was unemployment. Unemployment really hits the youth. So the question is, have these parties also been able to address the issue of what they will do to create more employment? So it is not just a question of whether they exist because there is space, political space, but the fact is that if they represent the youth, they also have to represent the youth's aspirations. And in that, the Congress party has been, talking about it. Even in the general elections, we saw that the Congress had made the issue of unemployment and of farmers a very, very big issue. So we'll have to see how that works out.
All right, Kapil, tell us, because you also spoke about going back to Jammu and Kashmir, and you spoke about the abrogation of Article 370. That could play an important role, and then the grant of the special status to Jammu and Kashmir, that remains a contentious issue. Do you think that will, locals are advocating for restoration of statehood or even autonomy? This would be actually on the top of the mind, voters would go out and cast their vote.
And I would just say that the way they have dealt with the issue of Kashmir, I think if you look at the situation there, it's terrible there. The state of employment is terrible, and the fact is that the issue of 370, I personally feel that has an impact insofar as BJP is concerned, positive impact in the rest of the India. But if you speak to any Kashmiri on the ground, they are not really very happy with the way they have abrogated the Article 370, and this is going to impact them negatively.
Mm-hmm. Kailash, what do you think about the caste and the ethnic identities which play a key role in politics, especially in terms of Jammu and Kashmir, influencing? This can be a big influence on the party alliances also, electoral outcomes also.
Priyanka, if you go to see each and every state, I'm not just talking about Jammu and Kashmir, Night, they have their own equation when it comes to caste, be it Maharashtra, be it Gujarat, or be it the Northeast or South, or UP for that matter, the largest state when it comes to the number of seats. So in Indian politics is characterized by that. Whether we like it or not, it is characterized by that. And then you have your regional leaders, national leaders, be leaders from different caste and equation. Now, coming back to Jammu and Kashmir, uh, Jammu and Kashmir. So the entire 90 seats, the entire equation changes because Jammu has a different equation altogether. The valley has a different equation altogether. The way people in Jammu vote, the issues that they face, or the kind of the underlining points on which they are voting is completely different from the valley. Now, the issues that are there in the valley, abrogation of 370, as we are discussing on this particular debate, demand of a statehood, and also knowing the fact that uh, around 35 to 40,000 people have got the government jobs, as you just broadcasted. So all these factors do play a role, along with the fact that there are certain caste equations. Now, that is something which Indian politics is characterized by, not just Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay. So, coming back to you, Smita, because Haryana, the key issues have been about the public services and even the infrastructure. Do you think that this would be the bone of contention? These could be the top of the mind for voters when they go out to vote. They would have gone, because this just happened in one phase only for Haryana, and public service infrastructure. This would have actually affected the political support in the state. Smita?
Who's the question for?
Yes, Smita, this was for you. That how satisfied do you think the citizens are in the state of Haryana about the public services and even for infrastructure?
See, issues like public infrastructure, governance, these are issues. But I have noticed over the many decades that I have covered politics in India, that often while these things remain in the background, it is often the emotive issues that come into play. So it is very hard really for to predict whether those are the issues that are going to dominate or dominated when people actually went to cast their polls, because Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir are two different states completely, and there are different reasons, different issues playing in the two states. So in Haryana, caste is much more important than it is in Jammu and Kashmir. In Haryana, it is the Jat politics, the Jataf politics, the the OBCs. For a long time, the BJP tried to sort of play an anti-Jat card, get all the other communities against the Jats, because the Jats were largely with the Congress party. And often governance doesn't play the kind of role that we who live in the cities imagine that they do. So that is one. And as I mentioned, and as another of my panelists mentioned, the emotive factor of Vignesh Phogat. These kind of issues can play a big role. In Jammu and Kashmir, however, the whole issue has been about Article 370, about shrinking it from a state into two union territories. It's been about people's pride in the area where they live. So there are different factors that are top of the mind in the two states. All the other, governance issues, because otherwise in Jammu and Kashmir, if it was just governance issues, then the BJP ought to have swept. Why didn't the BJP contest in the valley? The BJP didn't contest in the valley because it knows governance is not going to work for it in the valley, because that is not top of the mind.
Right.
And this happens in state after state.
Correct. In fact, taking cue. In fact, taking cue from what you said, Smita, that, with the entry of Vinesh Fogart, let's understand even that, the role of women in politics in Haryana. Kailash, any word from coming in from you on this?
No, I certainly agree with what Smita ma'am and Kapil mentioned about the emotive issue of Vinesh Fogart, because we see a lot many wrestlers, coming in from Haryana who win laurels for our nation, and the entire nation did see the kind of struggle that they had to go through on the streets of the national capital against a particular a movement, and we could see not only on social media but also elsewhere on other forms of media, wherein the entire country placed its allegiance towards certain voters. So this will definitely, to a certain section of the voters, could influence them while voting. And we see that some of them are also now contesting for elections. How does, in that particular constituency, this entire movement influences the voters, and how do we see that only a few days we'll come to know? But we cannot negate that fact that this is not a factor. This could be one of the factors amongst all.
Absolutely, this could be a key factor also amongst other factors. Thanks very much, Smita, Kapil and Kailash, for joining in this special conversation, giving your time to ET Now. Thanks very much. But then for now, the first exit poll prediction that have given a clean majority to Congress in Haryana, and looks like an advantage coming in for National Conference Congress Alliance in Jammu and Kashmir.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.